decisions for
how did you experience that? So I do want to chat about that still. But back to you though.
Yeah.
Do you remember? And I believe that you know where I'm going with this. Do you remember
so much
when you bet me that you will not make it to the age of 16?
Oh jeez.
I don't remember that. But do you know
this
what?
guy, yeah.
Do you know what?
This guy.
I have a feeling that this was in secondary school. Obviously,
It was like year 7. Yeah. This guy goes to me one day.
RE class.
Probably. This guy goes to me one day. Obviously, I would say my other name, but it's not relevant now. He goes, Cam.
Don't do that.
I bet you, I bet you £10, that I'm not gonna make it till I'm 16.
It's like, what the?
I'm like,
what
are you talking about?
No,
bro?
but do you know what I was speaking of? I was speaking of as in like our own existence.
See, obviously, at the time,
you thought it was just.
I thought you was just chatting shit, bruv. So I said, well,
no, but I thought, like, as in,
can you bet me the £10?
Do you remember how life was?
And do you know what's funny? Yeah, I got to say this while we're on the camera, on mic.
Yeah.
Right now, right now. Do you remember like year 10, year 11? I was still onto you for that £10, bruv. I really wanted that £10.
Listen,
it was a dumb bet.
Don't forget.
Bruv,
money.
Was you not in the chiz every year that came to an end because of school wars?
Bruv, you was not.
Things are happening.
You know, like that. It's like, at one point I had to realise he made the bet, but he wasn't going to give me the £10, bruv. I had to accept it in my soul, like, he was just waffling. Man's gonna hear. No.
It's 15 to 1.
I said 15 to 1. You know, I'm dead. No, but no. Speak on it then. What was your thought process at that time? Because obviously it's a joke and rare, but what was your thought process?
The thought process at that time was that, as in, like, people was very aware about the violence that had gone on, as in our youth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was crazy that we was able to joke about it and make bets about it.
Where are you talking about, just for people that don't know?
I'm talking about Stockport High School.
Okay,
that's how it's college in today's day.
Cool.
As Jazzy would have mentioned, shout out Jazzy from the previous episodes. That it was that crazy that people would do things that are just so like far-fetched like that.
So you're saying that tied into your thought process of the joke as well, that like
exactly
it was a bit like the way that things are going, we probably won't even really like see like 18.
As in, like, to myself, I probably thought like, and this is generally speaking, I thought like maybe because I'm white, I might make it longer than people who are black. And I'm speaking on a.
I rate you so much for even saying that.
No,
because you're not saying it with malice. You're saying it as in your perspective.
On a genuine fact. Yeah. As in like.
I respect that a lot.
I can have that sort of outspoken sense more than like my other peers could have, and then especially knowing you so well as I do now previously, and knowing Jazzy, who's from Mansfield, which you two are literally in between from where I live.
Yeah, which is a whole nother ball game.
Which is a whole, like, I'm from A-Town and then there's Mansfield and then you're from Lansdowne. And it's like, who do I associate myself with when I go to school? It's like, that's why I was like, I'm just going to make everyone laugh so I don't die.
Yeah.
But I think we were all like that.
I
think we were all like that. That was the coping mechanism.
Like, I'm going to make everyone laugh so I don't die.
All right.
Not as graphic as that, but it was like...
I'll say this, yeah. Actually, you go, Jay.
No, do you know what? I was going to say, I totally relate to what you were saying about will I last till 16? Because I had it in my mind, I didn't think I was going to last to 21.
I think it was incorporated in the way you think.
I really know, but because of what I was seeing.
Brother,
after
it was
primary,
really real.
After primary, I can't say before primary. After primary, after secondary, like what? Oh, listen, man.
This is the thing. I mentioned when I was speaking to Jazzy that a lot of us, and I know you'll agree, we did not plan. We're all above the age of 25 now. Now we're starting to think about our 30s and 40s.
It's great.
But a lot of us didn't actually fathom being 27 and 28. We just thought, like,
what was happening?
If man makes it to 24, that's lit. I'll see what I'll go on until then. I might be married and that. But, I might have a yard and that.
And I would say that right here, on recording, because we are in a session, that it was a lot more present, that was the reality for people of colour. Like, with no disrespect.
No, bro, it's not.
It's not
disrespect. It's reality because
it is what it is.
Because that's why man didn't think ahead of that age. Because why am I thinking about that age when
and it is what it is. Even though I was brought up in it, and more time, even now when I go to a certain part, people are like, "What do you know about this song?" And I'm like, "No, but you don't know that I was."
Yeah, you don't get it.
So there's that side to it, and then there's the other side where it's like, no, I seen people go through a.
My man went to my school, bro. Man was in the year above. He had shiny shoes. But anyway,
the buckle and thing. The trim was long.
See, you know as well. Look,
it was a good time.
Yeah. Anyway, I might cut all of that out. Anyway, couple things I want to ask you before we go. One, what are you passionate about?
I'm not
like
lie,
even
like,
something that people might not even know like about you as well. Like, what is something that you actually
very intricate about life? Because
come on, this how we do, bro. It's all to the
I'm
ends.
gonna be totally honest here. With me, like I'm a bit depressive when it comes to life. I'm not gonna lie.
Are you one of them true crime man as well?
No, it's not about true crime. It's about like the reality of what you know and what you experience. And is it and that's coming from someone who's not experienced like proper darkness. As in, like, I've never had a close relative die. I've never had to. I think that's one of the major things. Like having someone so close to you die would be one of the darkest things. And then, like I could never ever relate to that. And especially with my like me becoming an uncle and my sister having children, like
different perspective, isn't it?
It's so crazy.
I can relate.
So like when I have a kid,
my brother's got kids.
It would be crazy.
Yeah,
I would be. Like sometimes my sister's like, yeah, he's got a cough, and I'm like, he's been coughing for 2 days. Like you might want to check that shit out deeply, bro.
You say sometimes you're overprotective more than they are.
And then she's like, yeah, but you're only trying to protect yourself so that in case something is a bit more serious, then it's not going to be, then it's my fault. And I'm like, no, Maria, I'm just saying, like.
So get off my back.
If man's wheezing, he's struggling, bro.
Yeah, check that out.
Like check it out, but.
So wait,
it's crazy how man grows old so quick.
Don't digress. What are you passionate about? Because you mentioned
I'm passionate about
your nephew.
This is gonna upset my mum, but religion is not. I'm not passionate about religion.
That's fine, bro. Yeah, I mean,
mum's gonna be upset as she.
Yeah, I mean, my mum's probably actually my mum's not upset. She gets it. She understands my thing. She knows my thing. She knows that I respect her beliefs in that. Yeah, it's just not my part.
Belief from a Jehovah's Witness are different from belief from a.
Yeah, because there's only 144.
Like, you die or you live.
Yeah, only 144,000 are allowed in it.
That's different. 144,000 are allowed to reign above the earths, which means like for example, what they believe in is that like people die, like as in like the end will come, as in like people will die here on earth, as in like apocalypse, as in like like everyone will get class. Yeah. 144,000 that make it, they reign in heaven with God. Everybody else just lives as like normal people. Because obviously, with Jehovah's Witness, they believe that why would God make earth if it's not for man to live on? It don't make sense.
Okay. Now, because we're pushed for time, unfortunately,
we don't get into that.
We can't
invite me 2 months later and we can get.
But we will do that, yeah.
Don't do it because I was arguing before I came to see you anyway.
But see, this
My
is
mum
why
was harassing me, saying, "Why did you get tattoos?" And that?
Oh, bro, I said this the other day.
It doesn't have nothing. Like, what has this got to do with my relationship?
Pause.
Anyway,
I said this the other day to my mum because I was there at the yard and I was wearing a shirt and she goes to me, "What? You have a tattoo?" I said, "Yeah." She goes, when did you get that? I said, "Mum, I had this like 4 months ago." Like, she's like, "I didn't know that." I said, "Okay. Now what? Where do we go from here?" Like, I've got a tattoo. Like, do you hate me now? She's like, "No, but I didn't know." I said, "Okay."
shit.
Well, I'm watching EastEnders, so do you know what I mean? Like, I know it's mad because
Big up yourself, yeah?
no, it's obviously shout out to Mumsy, but it's funny because as I said, to them and their perspective, certain things are mad to them.
Yeah, you're mashing up your body.
Yeah,
you're not even allowed anywhere near God's kingdom.
And don't get me wrong, because previously I actually didn't really want to get tattoos. In fact, I only got a tattoo because I actually only got a tattoo because it was like a
reminder of something.
Well, cut long story short, it was basically me and my missus got matching tattoos. We both got a Pokemon tattoo, one that is similar to us. I'll show you mine after, and I'll show you hers after. I don't know if I can show you because I don't have a picture, but I'll tell you what it is. Yeah. But yeah, that's only the reason why man got a tattoo. Then I put the meaning to the tattoo after. But before that, I actually didn't really give a shit about tattoos. Mm-hmm. But now, like even I've seen yours and that, like I've got like my next tattoo. I'm not gonna say what it is, but when I get it, people see it again. Imagine doing bicep. Me. You're gonna see you're gonna see on the forearm and that. You're gonna see tattoo and that. Still. But yeah, anyway, look.
What is this, bro?
Huh? Hey, look, man. Look. That's weight, innit? Man's gassed, innit? Man's semi-sexy.
No, I agree.
Yo. But fun fact, yeah, people with gap tooths are actually regarded as sexy, normal people. Yeah.
To be honest, where did you get that from?
I feel like that was Embarrassing Bodies, or was it Naked Attraction or something?
Yeah. I heard about that.
But yeah, I just want to put that in the pod. Before we get into you, Hélder, well, we already got into you in terms of certain things, but what I mean is, before we get into certain other deeper stuff, what's your family dynamic like? Have you got sisters? Have you got brothers? Mum, pops? Like, what's that all like? What's going on there?
Yeah, of course. Like, I think family dynamic is like, obviously got two. I'm the middleman syndrome kind of guy. Yeah. Older sister, younger sister. As in, like, sister was like treasured in a certain sense. This is gonna sound a bit. As in, like,
this might cause a couple of problems, but
as in, like, obviously older sister and then like younger sister, being the only boy. But I think it made me grow as a person anyway.
Gang up on you. You get tag team.
I don't want to speak on it. I think like family dynamic is like very, very cultural in terms of like what it means to be Portuguese, as in like very hardworking. Like, I respect my dad so much, as in like he's not been very ambitious, but he's like one of the most hardworking people that I've ever met in my life. Like consistent. As in, like, if you've got clothes on your back,
you're good.
If you can wear something on your feet, then
if you can put feet in your mouth, pig's feet preferably.
Pig's feet. That's the one. If you can put pig's feet in your mouth, it matters. But as in, like, if you can eat, and yeah, that's all that matters. So I respect my dad's hustle and all of that, and all he's ever cared about is working. Whereas my mum was the most thing that I respect about my mum is, like, although she's not ever been as hardworking as my dad, is the fact that we've never been handed into care. As in, like,
you know, it's funny.
A random person looking.
I even laughed at it, yeah. But as I laughed at it, I realized actually a lot of people have experienced that.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the family dynamic does break down.
Yeah.
There ain't other people to support.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that's it's things that you take for granted when you're younger and you get older and you realize, wow, they actually done a pretty good job. Because I don't know, I said this before, I said I don't know how if someone said to me, Cam, you got to go to another country and build a life.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, for perspective, I would say, like, for example, like my dad, like, he used to get called out of school when he was like 8 years old to be like watch after like herds of cows. Like, as in, like, his like my grandma, his mum would come to him from school like when he's like 8 years old and be like, no, he's got to jump out of this class. He's got to watch the cows, because that's just the way it is. And like my mum moved to Germany when she was like 13 to look after kids that was like 3 years old, 2 years old, and then so she lived in Germany for like 3 years and did that.
Oh, that's mad.
Yeah, so then that happened, and then obviously...
Can she speak German, or could she speak German?
Yeah, my mum can speak German. She dabbles in German. Yeah, my dad dabbles in German.
Schweinsteiger and that. That's mad. a young Kimmich and that. That's mad.
You know? So yeah, like, my mum was in Germany for a couple of years, and like doing like babysitting for like young children and that. And then afterwards, obviously, she when she moved out to Portugal, she met my dad. My dad was working in like one of the richer families nearby, like on one of their farms and whatnot. And like she works in a local cafe there. she's one of the bartenders. He moved to her like that. I don't know how that move to works like
Interesting.
that. I want a beer, but I'm not gonna pay you now.
I might pay you tonight.
I might pay you in a different way.
I might pay you indeed.
yeah, exactly. And I ain't talking dollars.
That's what I was thinking. You finished the joke. That was good.
Yeah,
that's good. He's good.
Yeah, apparently that's how it happened. Innit?
I need to ask my dad. How did you move to mum?
It's a good concept.
I need to
Because,
ask.
you know
what did you do?
It's very different. Like there's no way that people move to how people move to nowadays.
I said in text.
Because now, like I don't even have people move to me now. Like people don't move to me. I might have someone sweaty putting their armpit over me, going, "I like you," and it's like,
I said, mate, I love you, right? You see what we're doing tonight in Shoreditch, yeah? Listen, I got a guy, yeah, in Charlie, gets a bit of gear, I tell you, right? They're just waving, just waffling.
Like, yeah, but you're sweating on my
bro,
fucking...
my ear is hot right now. My ear is mad hot. No, but that's mad still. That is mad.
Yeah, so that's how it came about. So I like the thing that I appreciate about my family is like hardworking, not so much ambition. I won't say ambition is the main aim of my family, and they won't be upset about that. No ambition.
They didn't aim high at all. Like not in a little sense, not in a big sense, little sense at all. They just said, "No, I'm joking." But
I'm being dead serious.
I think what you're saying is because, as I said, sometimes I have to say these disclaimers because you know how people are; they get triggered. Yeah. What you're saying is your family were people who are very simple and very content with making sure as long as you've got roof over your head, food in your mouth, clothes on your back, then their job is done.
I remember going to sports day with them. Adore trainers from fucking what do you call that shop that's closed down now? Like Shoe Zone. You know the Shoe Zone thing?
Oh yeah.
You know, man was doing throwing the little sandbags in the bucket, and the next thing I know, the sole was gone, bruv.
You might as well throw your shoe in the bucket too, bruv. You don't want that back.
Bruv, but it is what it is. Anyway, all I think about is that perhaps no ambition, but all that mattered was like we're gonna get through it. In general, we will get through it. So that made it a bit more important for me, as in terms of like survival. I think that's what mattered most, and especially being brought up in South London. I think it helped. Obviously, my parents, the fact that South London was a very Portuguese area. Yeah, a lot of
come on, you know about little Portugal. You get me?
Come on.
Listen, if you went to the primary school we went to, Wyville Primary,
exactly. You know about them Portuguese.
Half the people in there, hella Portuguese. Did I notice? No. Did I care? No. But yeah, it was lit still.
Yeah, it was good. Lit, it was good, and I appreciated the fact that it was like that.
That's the end, bro.
Man would send out a letter, and it would be like half in English, half in Portuguese.
Do you know how that was? Do you know what's so crazy? Because I did work experience. I went back in college to work in.
Yeah, I did the same.
So
Kelly and
yeah,
you saw me too, man.
Yeah. Look, because I went back. I was gonna say something and it was gonna sound so mad, but let me just move forward. Because I went back, what do you call it? I realised because I saw the letters get printed in that. So I'm reading the letter. I'm going, right, like, hey, was it always in Portuguese and English? Then I realised, yes, it was. Then I realised, well, of course it would be because I'm teaching these kids, and 90% of them are Portuguese, and 10% of them are like,
to be fair,
others or whatever.
Would you like, from me, like as a guest, asking you, what do you remember from primary school in a classroom of ours? Like, for example, we was in the same class.
Would I remember?
As in, like, percentage of like ethnicity in a classroom.
I remember. Okay, I'll say it like this. There was, for example, like Mandem, like black kids, like black boys specifically, not black girls, black boys specifically. It was me, George, and a couple other men, obviously, who are like I don't chat to them no more, but hopefully they were blessed.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know it was the four of us, whatever. They know
the two.
The guys.
The guys. And hopefully,
shout out you too, man.
Yeah, shout out. Man, them know, you get me. It's still respect, and I hope man them come on the pod and that. You get me?
But you see this as well.
Yeah, come on, man. Hail up them man same way. But it was us, and then there was one other youth as well. But then he left, I think, in like year 4. I want to say year 4, year 5. Then the Portuguese youths, it was like 10 Portuguese youths, like
you're not lying.
6 Portuguese girls. Then there was like 1 or 2 white girls, and then like 4 or 5 black girls.
Yeah.
That's what I remember as ratio wise. So yeah, what's something,
Yeah, go on.
what's something that a lot of people who know you wouldn't actually know about you?
I would say, like on a personal perspective, that I've probably not spoken openly about is that like probably struggle. I'm not gonna say I've ever struggled with addiction or anything like that, but I'm saying struggling as in like in terms of like going from like a social environment in terms of like where I was working. As in my initial job was like a sort of like cleaning and housekeeping sort of environment job into a like office sort of job where it was a bit more corporate and things like that. Where like from our background, you don't get taught things like that. You don't know how to act in that environment.
The transition.
That transition is
You're
different.
lost in translation completely.
Who's there to tell you what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to dress?
Exactly. And then the other thing is that like no matter how good your parents are, shout out to mum and dad, and like as much of us as well, we're exposed to things that like your parents are not even aware of that you're exposed to.
Bruv,
They're exposed to dark places.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but just to chime in, I've said this many a time that I had to explain to my mum and my dad and my auntie, because my auntie was like my second mum, that I get you lot had your own struggles, but do you lot understand that I'm a black youth growing up in Southwest London? Do you understand this? And they just didn't. They just didn't get it.
You don't.
They didn't
you don't.
understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you said.
I never was well, because
you couldn't.
I'm clearly white.
Yeah, but but you couldn't. But you still was growing up in the same time.
But it's a synonymous story about the way that shit goes.
Yeah.
As in like what you're exposed to and the things that you learn about how to be.
Yeah.
And then like being in the job that I was brought up in, obviously my parents being like just making a living off of like the only thing that is like what people say is like people plug you into whatever you know. So like when my parents moved, there was like it was a cleaning job or it was a housekeeping job and things like that. That's what my parents was involved in. So then when my first job when I was like 16, 17, it was like cleaning, housekeeping, doing things like that for cheap, £6 an hour or whatnot. When that paycheck come in, it was looking lively anyway.
Yeah, bro. Man wasn't getting money before, so money's money.
But then when I first had my experience with a corporate job, it was very different.
And how so?
It's like how you can speak, how you can't speak your truth, you can't talk about your experiences in life. Everybody else that you're surrounded with, nobody's aware about what you've been around, and it's crazy to think that is the actual truth, even though you're actually. Like from my perspective, we are actually central London. Yeah, we are central London, yeah. And a lot of kids do not realise that, and they might go in growing up as in like, no, this is what most people are aware of, but it's not.
Mate, I've been at work and I see certain news articles and certain news stories, and I know personally what's happened. And I'm watching it, and sometimes I'm watching it with like one of my supervisors or something, just to pre their reaction, to see how they react. And
you don't know, fam.
And they react a certain way, and I don't get upset. I just think to myself, I'm gonna be so real. There's not even no point in me explaining to you.
Don't have a clue
how deep the situation is, because if I said to you that 10 years ago he was on my bunk bed playing Call of Duty with me, and we was all just having a good time, and now he's in a fucking gang war, you just wouldn't understand. So
that's what I'm saying.
I'll just let you think whatever you think, and
they wouldn't. People won't understand. And the thing is, the one thing that the two ways to look at it is as in like, for example, like growing up in Brixton, for example, where I was growing up, is like Brixton when I was growing up, 15, 16 years old, is like maybe I would get approached or robbed, or like someone from because I'm wearing a different blazer colour to someone else from a different area, they would approach me and try and steal whatever off me. And nowadays, like what was a chicken shop or what was something else is now turned into a cheese shop or turned into a smoothie shop or a coffee shop or something like that.
It's funny.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's like people don't realise that there's been a major journey to it.
Watch it, Jax.
Oh my! Yeah, I also got pictures of it on my phone.
Exactly. People don't realise.
No, but guess what? There's a Jax in Stockholm now. But guess what it is? It's a Rascal coffee shop.
People don't know that though.
You get what I'm saying? So when we're saying, Jax, what, 3 chocolates for £1 because they were gonna go off by Friday and that, or 5 Pepsis for £1 because they were slightly off yesterday and that.
Wake up early. We used to wake up like going to school early wasn't about like getting to school early for productive reasons. It was about we were trying to get
35p energy drink. Are you mad?
we were trying to get the bigger exactly. We're trying to get the bigger or trying to get all the lit coloured
Canister.
sherbet or whatever. We wanted the pink sherbet and that's it, fam. All that was left was the dirty yellow ones and that order. Like no one wants
in
that.
school, man.
Jack's was a lit shop.
I can remember
Jack's
Jack's
was
like
selling
it
in
was
school.
yesterday, you know.
Yeah.
Like the entrance, the 4 people there, and
No, and they used to, and the progressiveness of that, they used to let 6 people in. And then it was 4,
yeah.
and then it was 2, and then it was like 1 at a time, and it's like, bruv,
in school uniform.
Stealing that.
like,
Chill out,
relax.
it's mad still.
Like, it's a journey, fam. That's what people don't realize.
No, they don't. But
That is so key. You said that. Bro.
look, before we go, we've got about 10 minutes again on the clock. Shout out Keon because I know you're gonna chop this up and hopefully it'll actually make sense to the people. Actually, fuck it. Basically, we ran over time, but we went back in just for you guys. So hopefully you don't appreciate it. Shout out the gang.
How was a good guest?
Yeah. We don't normally do this, but sometimes you do.
I'm glad to be on here. It's great.
I want you to touch on what you spoke about before we started recording and that, because I think it's important to address these things and make people understand, as I said, being more to the ends, that there's more than one person that's in the ends and going through different situations and scenarios. You know what I mean? Some men are going through gang shit, some men are going through substance abuse, and some men are going through just poverty and stuff. So if you could just touch on what we spoke about just before you came on and that.
Yeah, so like I think like from my perspective, obviously being from Brixton, I've seen it all from different angles. I've seen people that are involved in gang life, like being from where I'm from. I'm like from A Town, like where it's like I'm in the middle of Mansfield and I'm in the middle of hotspot where it's like you can't get affiliated to no one. I just used to go to school to disrupt people's learning. That was my aim, bro. I don't even want to get involved with nothing.
You know?
I was just a disruption, fam. I don't know whose fault it is, but mum, maybe if you trim me more times than one.
Right, we need to stop blaming mums, you know. It's because we picked them up so much. I just think, let me throw a grenade at her.
£2 for a shape up or something, bro.
It's true. Oh my days, it was
A shape up would make my confidence grow, bro.
Man said a shape up was actually £2. It's probably like a £5 now, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. Now it's a £5. But
shout out my barber Tommy.
yeah, but on a grand scheme of things, I would say like you can.
Jay looked at me like, why?
Hold on, no, but it's £11 right now.
What, for a shape up?
£15, sorry.
For a shape up.
No way.
For a shape.
Yeah,
this
no
guy's
shit.
going
I know, like,
L'Oreal.
is it Tony and Guy? Is that what they're called?
Where are you going,
Man's going Tony and Guy.
Bro, it's like
bro.
because you're worth it.
You think I'm shaping up? Like I just
No, bro, it's just about a shape up. But yeah, go to
No, but to get serious, I think like it all depends on like who you involve yourself with. I think like me, I've been exposed to all sorts of people. I've been exposed to like growing up in Brixton. Like I've seen people go into the gang life and get crazy. I've seen people that have just kept a middle ground. I've seen people be able to keep true to themselves. And like me myself, I've always been. Gratefully, I've been able to keep a distance from what was like serious gang life, being from where I'm from in between like serious gang life between 2 different areas, which was like Stockholm hotspot and like OC and all that in Brixton and whatnot, and Mansfield, which is what you touched on earlier and whatnot. But like for me, it was more like when I started working, all I wanted was money.
I was gonna say, yeah. Talk about that, like
it was all about
talk
money.
about that, like whirlwind of the corporate
Like,
situation.
Yeah, like
and
for me, it was nothing about like I didn't care about gangs or make easy money. I just as soon as I saw money, I cared about money. So I started working, and like obviously my parents' background comes from like working in cleaning and whatever. Like they plugged me with a cleaning job in Charing Cross Station. All I was doing is simple stuff. Going in a train, picking up newspapers, bagging them, £6 an hour, going off. And sometimes I was doing £12 an hour, 12 hours a day and that, and going nuts. Kept me slim and that. And now, you know, but like what people don't realize is that afterwards, like even though I didn't go to uni, we'll get into that hopefully in another time when we have more time. It's like I got into corporate office work where it was like you're exposed to different side of things. Where you're like, even though people respect where you're from, it's like you're exposed to drugs, you're exposed to cocaine, specifically cocaine, MDMA, and things like this. Where you're like, people glamorize it as in it's like it's not that deep. It's as in like it's a way of life. Everyone does
like
it.
most things, bro.
Like most things,
Like
it's
loud, like MDMA, coke, whatever.
Lean,
as in
like
whatever.
just try it.
Yeah,
it's like it's not
balloons.
What's the worst? Do you know what the worst sentence that you can hear is what I say to
what's
the
the
youth
worst that can happen?
Exactly.
I say that all the time, but I always say it as bands.
When someone says to you, "What's the worst that can happen?" is that believe me, is that people experience things in different ways. Like other people can do coke for 6 years and not have a problem with it. Someone can do coke for 3 days and next thing you know, they're suicidal. So the thing that I'm trying to build here is like there's an awareness to it. It's like exposure is very easy, but dealing with the problem is a whole different issue.
Yeah, because everyone deals with that's something I've learned every year. I've learned it like harder and harder as a real lesson that I can drink certain drinks, and because I'm a big guy, my genetics, whatever, it affects me a different way to a smaller person who they drink one drink and they're just frass.
And it's as simple as that.
It's just that simple.
It's just that simple.
Like,
as in, like it's as simple as you can have 6 magnums and someone else can have 2 magnums and they'll be on the ropes.
Basically.
And you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And someone else, like you can have lines and lines of coke and whatever, and he'll be like, it's the best time of my life, or MDMA or whatever. He'll drop a little whatever, and he'll be like, it's the best night of my life. Every song that comes on is my favorite time and whatnot. But the aftermath is what nobody talks about.
So that, all right, cool. Just like talk about that experience.
The aftermath.
Yeah, the aftermath of actually coming out of that situation and preing it and going, yeah, that's all mad. I don't actually want.
I don't want. Yeah, no. Yeah, go on.
That's what I'm saying. Like
as in, like, for example, like I remember going into like my first time going into doing like heavy drugs like that and being like, okay, look, like cool. I started the night as I would normally start a night, drinking alcohol, doing a couple pints, having a magnum, 2 magnums and whatnot, smoke 2 zoots. Next thing you know, someone's telling me do a line of ket, just because.
Yeah, I remember I got offered that and I said nope. Yeah, where I'm from, we don't do that stuff. Sorry, that was my thing.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, but he seems alright. So what's the harm?
That's all it takes.
I did, and for real, that's all it takes. Then I did a line of ket. The next thing you know, man, I'm doing raw MDMA, which is like where you break down the bricks. I'm not talking MDMA the pill.
I got offered that too. She said, oh yeah, just tip a little bit in your drink. I said,
I'm talking about she put dust in a Rizzler, rolled up the Rizzler, you back it, and then 45 minutes later, you're lifted.
So I love you, man. I love you.
Bro, and then the thing is, on the night, I was like, cool. So I've drank alcohol, I'm in a good mood. I'm high, and I've been smoking weed for a long time. And now I don't smoke weed anymore. And I'm in a good mood. So I've done ket now, which is a horse tranquilizer for anybody that doesn't know. There's nothing, you don't have no business doing something that will put a horse to sleep.
A whole horse. Look at my chest. I'm a big ute. A whole horse, and you're going to put what's for a horse in your body.
And I've seen people.
Think again, you mug.
And I've seen people, because I was good on my first try, doesn't mean that I've seen people convulsing and doing a madness off of one line. So just because you might be okay on the first time, don't mean that you'll be okay on the second time or third time or whatever. But anyway, so you do that, and then you drop MDMA, and then you drop coke, and then you drop whatever. And next thing you know, to your knowledge, you're having a great night. Every song that comes on is your favorite song. You're having the best time of your life. Every girl that you see is the favorite girl, and because she's probably on the same drugs that you're on, she might love you the same way that you love her.
You're all in heaven.
Everybody's having a great time. But what happens at the end of the night? It might not be the end of the night. Exactly. It might not be the end of the night. There's a reason why clubs close at 3 a.m. That's when you're supposed to go home, fam. If you're tired, it means go sleep, fam. If you can go on longer than 3 a.m., you have something else in your system that's telling you to go on longer. So when you go home at 8 a.m., 9 a.m., 12 p.m. the next day...
That's a long time, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I've done that myself. I've gone home the next day, 8 p.m. There's no reason for me to be awake that long.
Anyway, I'm not going to talk too much, but yeah.
You've been awake for too long. So there's substance abuse, is what I'm saying. And the thing is that as much as you might think that's okay just because you didn't experience anything mad, from my experience, gradually it took a toll on me. Be it depression, be it anxiety, be it as in troubling me as I go on about myself on a day-to-day, be it seeing my friends do it one time and be suicidal and things like that. It affects people differently. So what I would say is that I would never do it. Had I gone back then, I would never do it.
Hindsight, innit?
Hindsight, I would never do it. 100%.
I guess someone else objectively would look and say you had to go through that to know now you don't need that.
But then again, to some extent, I still think I feel the effects of my mistakes then.
Yeah, but you can't. The thing is, what's happened has happened. So you can't like continue to judge yourself off what's already happened.
No, I would never judge myself.
Do you get what I'm saying?
I know, I agree with you.
As we're talking now, I would just say, bruv, it's in the past. Today is the present. You don't even know what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just live today, bruv. And just be grateful. On that.
No, I agree. But the thing is, like, with anxiety and depression, especially within men, people are not openly talking about it. And the thing is, like, with anxiety, a guy can say, like, oh, I'm okay with it. But that's all you see is, like, the guy, he's saying okay.
Bro.
Midnight, like, when he goes home, he might be hyperventilating in bed. He can't fall asleep. He can't think about anything else apart from, like, he's overthinking every single thing in his life.
Stop talking about my life, please.
I think that's
but that's what I'm saying.
It's real, though.
It's about that awareness.
It is real. So, would you say, or Jay, do you have any comments on that?
I'm trying to think, like, so I think, like, so I guess what you're trying to say is what you've had to go through, like, there's long-term effects that you're still dealing with now.
Yeah, 100%. There's things that have affected me till now, to this day.
Well, that's what I was gonna go on to say, that although you would probably agree that you are on the other side of it.
Yep.
You still.
I wish I had that story from someone else.
Yeah, you still have to manage it day to day and make sure you're on
100%,
point,
100%,
and not go too hard on them things.
100%.
Bro, do you know what?
Yeah, 100%.
I would. Before we wrap up, I want to say first of all, shout out to you for being open and honest about that, because
always.
Me personally, how I look at it is not on a vibe of raw, you did all of that. It's a vibe of raw, you're brave enough to actually speak about that and let people who also are definitely going through it but won't speak about it to even their missus or whatever, let them know, raw, like, yeah, you might be going through it, but you know you can come through that. And you can actually 100%. Get to a point where now, obviously, as I said, there'll be a day when you probably come back on and dive more into this, but now you're doing a job where you earn a very good wage, like you don't.
Yeah, like you can still do you, like.
Yeah, you can get back to like.
You can get back to your normal life.
Your normal life and that. So yeah, I just want people to take that from the story. But yeah, bro. Personally, I just want to say
I'm still well in my corporate job and whatever. And
you're still a knob.
Well.
Do you know what I mean? Still a knob.
I'm an absolute bastard on a day to day. But what I'm saying is the awareness is not out there for the risks.
Yeah.
Look, people just see it as in like I did that day, and then they think that
it will never. It's gone. It's done. Look,
but it's not.
Before we wrap up, this is where I'll leave the podcast and that. I just want to say, as you said, people think that it's like it happened then and it's done and that. Yeah, it's something that I've realized as well. That, like, I'm trying to think how to put it. Everyone's battling through stuff, but because how the world is and how like moths to a flame, people are attracted to negative more than positive. Yeah. It's weird that people actually won't say what you just said.
Yeah.
Or like me and my brother, when we opened up about like battling depression and anxiety and these things, or me talking about how something that I deal with daily, overthinking and that, and I just leads me down a rabbit hole. People are actually very afraid to talk about these things, but they don't understand that us as three men in a room talking about what we're talking about, even your situation,
it's a regular occurrence
with like people passing in your life and stuff, and the desensitization to death and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's things that we have to talk about, because then obviously we'll come to a point where we can say, yo, do you know what worked for me? Working out. Do you know what worked for you? Having a couple of days where I'm fasting. drinking this instead of this, or not going so hard and whatever. We need to have more of these conversations as men and as people, because hopefully we'll come to a point where we can say, if you need help, just shout me.
Learn to deal with it. I think it's about picking up good habits. Be it whatever it is, be it like exercise as you mentioned, or be it like picking up a new habit, cooking, or
that's what I said.
Whatever it is,
that's why I mentioned
somewhere or do whatever you want.
That's why I mentioned that, bro.
Occupy your mind with something positive.
Come on, man. And that's what we're trying to do when we're doing More to the Ends podcast. Jay, you got something to say before we dip out?
Oh man, no, you need to come back. I got more questions for you.
I'll be happy to come back.
Yeah, man.
I'm just happy to be here, and shout out More to the Ends podcast. I'm happy to be a part of the journey.
I think the people will like this one. I think that people will watch it and quickly realize, oh wow, they're actually talking about some real stuff. They're bantering and stuff, but they actually touch on some real subjects. Yeah. So yeah, man, just like that. There's always more to the ends. Shout out Keon, because I know you're gonna edit this one proper still. I'm gonna edit my thing as well, and hopefully it helps. But yeah, man, we're out, blood.
Thank you so much.
Come on, man.